Bill Wright stood in the shade of an oak tree in front of a 2-story Victorian that was listed for sale. He was watching Claire Fett, his real estate agent, arrive. The neighborhood he'd asked her to see was on the outskirts of town, where the lots were larger and had more privacy. She'd sent a text to her waiting client. "I'm so sorry. Stuck in traffic. We'll be there in 10 or less." That was 12 minutes ago. Claire, who prided herself on professionalism, was late. Still in her car now, she seemed to be flustered. She was trying to arrange her short chestnut hair into something that would make a good impression. Bill thought, "If I was a real buyer, I wouldn't be happy right about now." He wasn't a real buyer, though. He had other intentions with Ms. Fett, and he couldn't care less that she was running late. Bill had been watching her for some time now. He knew where she lived, and he knew what she'd been doing until a few minutes before she left the house. He also knew that she was not stuck in traffic when she texted him. Bill knew these things because, until half an hour ago, he was in her attic, watching her. Claire hated being late at all, but especially hated it with a new client. As she pulled up to park, she glanced at the clock again. Shit, she thought. Grabbing her notes, keys, and phone, she peeked out the window to see where her new buyer was. It only took a moment for her to find him in the shadows of the front yard. He was leaning against a massive tree with his arms crossed. Because of the lighting, she couldn't make out his features. He seemed tall, taller than she'd expected somehow. Claire checked herself in the mirror. Then she pasted a smile on and climbed out of the car. "Mr. Hayworth, I'm terribly sorry. I can't apologize enough for my tardiness," she called, approaching. Bill had given her a false name when contacting her to set up the appointment. As she walked closer to him, Claire realized what a handsome man he was. His jet-black hair blended in with the shadow of the tree. When Bill smiled at her, reassuring her all was well, his black eyes crinkled in the corners, and Claire felt her stomach do a somersault. "Things happen, Miss Fett. I'm sure it's not within your power to control traffic, or if it was, I'd bet you would have a different profession altogether." She seemed to visibly relax. Now she knew he wouldn't bite her head off. "Let's take a peek inside this beauty, shall we?" As she moved toward the lockbox on the front door, Claire saw Bill reaching for a black duffel bag that had been at the base of the tree. He saw her notice the bag, so he explained how it was his overnight work bag that he kept his iPad and more expensive tools in, and he rarely liked to leave it in the car. As they walked toward the front door, she asked, "Mr. Hayward, I understand you're a truck driver?" "Yes, ma'am, sure am. That's why it's so important for me to keep some important tools on hand." Claire thought it was odd that he would want to carry his tools with him in a duffel bag, but also knew little about truck drivers. She supposed that if he had some expensive wrench, more power to him for wanting to keep an eye on it. "I can imagine having those tools on hand comes in handy." "You bet," Bill chuckled. "It's true that truck stops offer some tools and supplies for the trucker in need, but they're pretty limited in their selection." "Oh, I bet." She nodded her understanding. His black duffel bag was normally kept in his truck at all times, except for when he used it, during times like these. Inside were essential tools that he regularly needed for his truck, but more importantly, there were tools for his hobby. Part of Bill's hobby involved selecting individuals and causing them pain. In the duffel were various tools that he used to detain a target and temporarily make that person unconscious, including pre-loaded syringes,